Good morning and welcome to the midweek edition of your breakfast on Leadership Television inside Nigeria. Today is Wednesday, 5 February 2025. My name is Winifred Bebo, your host on the program. And on today's show, we look at what the papers are saying, including Nigeria's most influential newspaper, Leadership. Of course, we have other papers in our menu today. I normally do the program. We go with Leadership first. Let's see Leadership's leading story. It says emergency declaration on food, poor implementation, mass 19-month exercise. Emergency declaration on food, poor implementation, mass 19-month exercise. Government is on serious, say experts. One state governments buy in, and Professor Amadu says impact not fake. These are kickers to the leading story on Leadership this Wednesday. Emergency declaration on food, poor implementation, mass 19-month exercise. The story runs on page 4 of Leadership. And of course, we move on to the Leadership Gold Standard Awards Picture Series. Today's series is on the Vice Chairman, Leadership Group Limited, Michael Query, Executive Director, the Alternative Bank South, Korede Demola Adeniyi, and Director, Leadership Group, Abraham Idazaya, during the presentation of award nomination letter to the Alternative Bank as Most Innovative Bank of the Year 2024 in Lagos. Congratulations to the Alternative Bank. And in response, the CEO Alternative Bank, Hassan Yusuf, says, "We are glad we are being noticed." Of course, congratulations once again. Is this a recognition? That is why the recognition is being given to you for your outstanding achievements. Still on Leadership, bandits kill 2, kidnap 5 in Kaduna. Kano government to domesticate WEE policy, that is we policy. Tinubu approves 80 billion naira for Allow Dam reconstruction. Kwara hands over Kampe game reserve to federal government. Kwara hands over Kampe game reserve to federal government. The story runs on page 7 of Leadership. On that note, we move towards the masthead of Leadership. Obasani Rufai's fight gets messier amid verbal attacks. The story is on page 19 of Leadership. It's also a story that is trending on other papers, some of the papers we have on our menu this Wednesday. Obasani, that is the governor of Kaduna State, and his predecessor in office, Rufai, fight gets messier amid verbal attacks. And on the business bus of Leadership, crude price instability threatens Nigeria's 36.35 trillion naira revenue projection. Let's take some paragraphs from that. Nigeria's economy faces significant challenges as crude oil prices remain volatile, jeopardizing the federal government's ambitious revenue target of 36.35 trillion naira for 2025. A report has warned of a possible negative impact of unstable global oil prices and its implications for the federal government's revenue forecast for 2025. These are paragraphs under that business page on the business story on that business buzz on the cover of Leadership this Wednesday. Crude price instability threatens Nigeria's 36.35 trillion naira revenue projection. The story is on page 7 of Leadership. Continues on page 7. And that takes us to the Leadership Countdown Awards. We have the CJ, that is Controller General Customs Adeniyi, Public Service Person of the Year. Leadership Award is a push to do better, he says. Congratulations to the CJ Customs. From that story, we move to the page 3 of Leadership, where we have stand. Today's stand is on ex-generals, politicians as illegal miners. Ex-generals, politicians as illegal miners. Former governor of Edo State and current Senate Committee Chairman on Interior, Adams Oshomole, recently stirred the honestness when he alleged during a budget presentation of the Ministry of Solid Minerals Development that some retired military generals were involved in the illegal mining and smuggling of Nigeria's solid minerals resources. In a video recording that went viral, Senator Shomole declared, among others, that very senior military generals are behind illegal mining in the country, backing many Chinese to plunder the mining resources. and that is the paragraphs, first two paragraphs on the stand today on Leadership newspaper. As generals, politicians as illegal miners. And towards the end of the stand, the papers took a stand and says illegal mining not only robs Nigeria of huge funds needed for development, but exacerbates the insecurity plaguing the country. He said, we urge the security agencies to beam their searchlight on the activities of foreigners in Nigeria, especially Chinese nationals. Many of them masquerade as investors when in reality they are shady characters who collude with unpatriotic Nigerians to commit economic crimes. Today's stand on Leadership newspaper. Don't forget that the page 3 stand is actually the editorial slant of the paper for the day. And today's stand, as I read earlier, is on ex generals, politicians as illegal miners. Is on that we move to the back page of Leadership, where we have Wednesday column with Olufunke Baruwa. Today's column, Baruwa is writing on Congo bonds, why the world watches. Congo bonds, why the world watches. In quotes, the DRC crisis is a reality check for Africans that no one is coming to save us from the evils we create by ourselves or those the world orchestrates. Quote from today's Wednesday column with Olufunke Baruwa, Congo bonds, why the world watches. Just before we go, we move over to Ghana Must Go. Ghana Must Go news. Federal government subsidizing electricity with 200 billion naira monthly. And guess what the reply is? Darkness subsidy. Very, very funny. Don't forget to log on to the website of Leadership newspaper for more on these stories that you read that. And of course, for continuation of the headline stories and inside pages. www.leadership.ng. From Leadership, we have the Punch newspaper next on our menu. And the Punch leading story today, Wednesday, February 5, 2025, says, marketers may dump NNPCL as price war with Dangote rages. Marketers may dump NNPCL as price war with Dangote rages. Dealers adopt MRS logo to access cheaper Dangote petrol. Consider NNPCL franchise suspension. Leading story today, we move to the second other leading story on the cover of the Punch, and we have pictures for it. DR Congo soldiers, rebels clash, death toll hits over 900. This is also what forms the column for Wednesday column with Olufunke Baruwa today on Leadership newspaper, where he says, Congo burns while the world watches. This is the second leading story today on the Punch. It says, DR Congo soldiers, rebels clash, death toll hits over 900. The story continues on page 12 or 22 of the Punch newspaper. We have the picture of the mass burial of what's taking place in the country. Benin Sokoto Hospital celebrates 4 successful kidney transplants. 6 killed in Kano January fire incidents. Abuja Makurdi Road toiling begins to repay $460 million loan. I'll take that again. Abuja Makurdi Road tolling begins to repay $460 million loan. The story is on page 18 of the Punch newspaper. And this particular story that also makes the headline cover of another paper we have on our menu. But let's continue with the Punch. Beside the masthead tax reform, reps set for fresh debate, hold closed door sessions. Tax reform, reps set for fresh debate, hold closed sessions. And up top, the masthead PDP secretary, Wike camp rise Supreme Court ahead of BOT meeting. Banks shop for 3 trillion naira in fresh recapitalization. Government releases power tariff hike guidelines for discos. This also concludes the review of front headline stories on the Punch this Wednesday. For continuation of these headline stories, log on to the website of the Punch, www.punchng.com. Even as we move to the next paper we have on our menu, which is the leading story, tolling of highways begins. Leading story on the Nation this Wednesday, tolling of highways begins. Umahi generated revenue for maintenance, payment kicks off on Abuja Cardinal Road. Leading story on the Nation this Wednesday. And what to pay? Car will be made to pay, mandated to pay 500 naira. SUV 800 naira, mini buses 1000 naira, and articulated 1600 naira. Let's take a snippet from that leading story. Tolling of highways begins. Umahi generated revenue for maintenance. Payment kicks off on Abuja Makurdi Road. The reintroduction of tolling on some selected expressways kicked off yesterday on the Abuja Kefi Akwanga Lafia Makurdi Highway. The 227.2-kilometer road is among the 9 expressways scheduled for tolling by the federal government. It was rehabilitated through a preferential credit loan from the China Exim Bank. Other roads listed for tolling include the Lagos-Ibadan Expressway, Second Niger Bridge, Abuja-Kano Road, and Makurdi Night Mile Road. The kickoff came on a day the federal government gave the contractors handling the Lagos-Ibadan Expressway an April deadline. They threatened to terminate the contracts if they failed to meet the ultimatum. Works Minister David Umahi, who flagged off the tolling, said the toll order for the roads has been gazetted. Paragraphs from the leading story on the Nation newspaper this Wednesday. Tolling of highways begins. Umahi says, that is the Works Minister. Umahi says generated revenue for maintenance. Payment kicks off on Abuja Makurdi Road. And what to pay? Cars will be mandated to pay 500 naira, SUV 800 naira, mini buses 1000 naira, and articulated 1600 naira. From that leading story, we move on to other stories gracing the cover of the Nation this Wednesday. FEC approves 758 billion naira for pension arrears, 30 million euro loan for student housing scheme. First Lady lists victims of Niger tanker explosion with 100 million naira. Congratulations and thanks to the First Lady of the Nation. Towards the masthead of the nation, 203.6 billion naira for key infrastructure projects in FCT. Strike. Kitco confirms sack of 450. And above the masthead of the nation, NIMET alerts Lagos, Ogun, Delta, Rivers on media flood. Clearing agents reject 4% levy on imported cargoes by customs. Clearing agents reject 4% levy on imported cargoes by customs. SEC regulates capital market with technology. UNICEF to military include protocol in training curriculum. With that, we conclude the review of front headline stories on the Nation newspaper this Wednesday. For more, don't forget to log on to the website of the Nation newspaper. Even as we head to the next paper we have on our menu this Wednesday, that is Vanguard. Vanguard says alarm as cartels target teenage girls for organ harvesting. Outlines of the nefarious lucrative trade in Nigeria. How young girls are snared into donating eggs. International Federation of Fertility Societies rail against practice. Victims narrate ordeal. Police bongo reported cases. NAPTIP canvasses enlightenment campaigns in schools, orders. These are kickers to the leading story on Vanguard this Wednesday. Alarm as cartels target teenage girls for organ harvesting. Beneath that, we have the picture of the First Lady who visited the former head of state, IBB, General Ibrahim Babangida, retired yesterday. From left, you have Haji Hassan Nana Shetima, wife of the Vice President, First Lady Senator Oluwemi Tinubu, and former military President General Ibrahim Babangida, retired, and Hajia Fatima Mohammed Bago, First Lady of Niger State, during a visit by Senator Oluwemi Tinubu to General Babangida's hilltop residence in Minna yesterday. And it was also on that visit the First Lady presented 100 million naira to the victims of Niger State tanker explosion. Stories on the Vanguard, other stories. Federal government will raise 758 billion naira bond to clear backlog of pension liabilities. El-Rufai slams Governor Sani over sycophantic support for Tinubu. NCAA gives Kenya Airways 48 hours to apologize for passengers' maltreatment. And in sports, Iheanacho faces Boro fans' rejection. That also takes us to the stories about the masthead of Vanguard. Federal government to roll out 7 million smart meters in 2025. Federal government flags up tolling on federal highways. And Ribadu says, I never said Tinubu Akume Kalu were corrupt when I was EFCC chairman. Tinubu declines assent to federal varsity Numan and bill cites errors. With that, we conclude front news headlines review on Vanguard. For more, log on to www.vanguardngr.com. From Vanguard, we move over to the next paper on our menu today, and that is The Guardian. The Guardian says federal government nags CNDs orders bigger over state of health sector. Good rating. Good in quote rating. The story continues on page 6 of The Guardian. Federal government NARD, that is National Association of Resident Doctors, Chief Medical Directors, CNDs, orders bigger over state of health sector. Good rating. The story runs on page 6 of the paper. 4 oil firms post 386 billion naira profits amid uncertainty, security concerns. First Lady donates 100 million naira to 10 Niger tanker explosion victims. This is IBB Abdul Salami. PFN declares national rebirth, vows to expose corrupt leaders. And on World Cancer Day, which was celebrated yesterday, federal government to explore health insurance for cancer. Senate threatens to arrest IGP, Customs, CG, FROS, NNPCS, CBN heads over audit norm. Mo Abudu showcases Nigeria's creative economy with Niger creates in London. That takes us to the stories just beneath the masthead of The Guardian. APC moves indirect primary ahead of Anambra gubernatorial poll. GAC meeting ends in deadlock as parties disagree on Obasa's fate. EFCC arraigns Chinese for alleged cyber fraud orders. The story runs on page 5 of The Guardian. Don't forget to log on to www.guardian.ng for continuation of these headline stories and inside stories. Well, just before we leave review, let's quickly move to the next paper we have on our menu. I see necessarily the last Daily Sun. Daily Sun says Governor Fintiri warns federal government over hardship, claims anger growing among Nigerians. Of course, the popular saying that a hungry man is an angry man is what the Adamawa State Governor Fintiri is warning the federal government over. He says Governor Fintiri warns federal government over hardship, claims anger growing among Nigerians. This story runs on page 6 of Daily Sun. We must achieve Tinubu's mandate on 2.2 million barrel per day oil production. CDS, that is the Chief of Defense Staff. Court orders final forfeiture of 1.1 billion naira, $392,000, 35,070 pounds recovered from Air Force Bank staff to federal government. Akpabio reshuffles committee leadership, names Kalu Hussaini, Chairman Southeast Northwest Development Commissions. Governor Mufwang reshuffles cabinet, reassigns information commissioner orders. Governor Mufwang is the governor of Plateau State, and the story says that he has reshuffled his cabinet and reassigned the information commissioner and orders. The story runs on page 26 of Daily Sun. And just beneath the masthead of Daily Sun, electricity subsidy to GOB 2.4 trillion naira in 2025 coming from the federal government. And lastly, just beside the masthead of Daily Sun, federal government launches $124 million cholera control initiative. The story runs on page 26 of Daily Sun. Don't forget to log on to the website of Daily Sun to read more on the stories. www.thesun.ng. Well, it's on this note we bring to an end today's Inside Nigeria breakfast show on Leadership Television. Unfortunately, we don't have a guest in the studio to do more justice to these stories. However, don't forget to join us for another fresh edition of the program, same time, same station, tomorrow. My name is InsideNIGERIA. Thanks once again for joining us.
Get ready for the Leadership Awards and Conference 2024. Join us as we celebrate excellence across various fields, honoring those who've made remarkable impacts. Award categories include Person of the Year, Quinquennial Award for Governance and Infrastructure, Governors of the Year, Business Person of the Year, and many more. Stay updated by following us on social media and visiting our website, leadership.ng. For sponsorship and inquiries, contact us today. Leadership Award and Conference 2024, celebrating excellence, inspiring the future. for watching. For sponsorship and advert placements, please contact 080-3688-6158. Last Word Leadership Podcast Studio. You have the last word.